The Sweetest Gem by the Rarispy. Part 2. Chapter 4 of Good Friends.
I still don't know what to do. I guess I want Spike to know how I feel. I kind of feel guilty keeping this secret. But do I want to risk it? Is a pony-dragon couple completely normal, like Fluttershy said? Well, Spike and I are too young to be a couple. But that's another thing. Are we also too young? And if it turns out he doesn't love me back, will he still want to be my friend? Ugh! Why can't my answer just fall out of the sky? Look out below!
Before Sweetie Belle had time to react, she was suddenly pounced to the ground by a familiar blue blur.
Whoops, sorry about that, Squirt,
said Rainbow Dash.
I'm trying to perfect my newest trick. It's not working out too well. That's okay,
Sweetie replied, as she continued walking, her head hanging low. Quick to shrug off her haphazard landing, Rainbow immediately began pondering on how to improve.
Let's see. Maybe if I angle the trajectory of my wings a little after the last loop-de-loop, I'll be able to make a much clearer landing when I finish off with the big tornado sweep. Yeah, that should do it.
She gave an apologetic smile to Sweetie Belle, only to see her walking off sadly into the distance.
Hey, why so glum, kid?
She inquired, flying upside down next to her.
I'm not glum, whatever that means,
answered Sweetie.
I'm peachy. Aw, come on!
Rainbow twisted herself back right side up.
I know a sad face when I see one, and that right there is a sad face. Something bugging you?
Sweetie responded with a sigh.
What could it hurt? Well, Rainbow Dash, have you ever had a very special sun pony?
The Weather Pegasus flew up a few inches, with a stunned expression on her face.
Well, of course I have, yeah. You have?
Sweetie Belle asked. She inched closer to Rainbow.
Well, how did you let them know that you wanted them to be your special sun pony? Or did they want you to be theirs? Huh? Oh, I see what's going on here. Little Miss Sweetie Belle's got her eye on some pony, doesn't she?
Sweetie Belle drew back.
What gave it away? Let me guess. You can't figure out what to say to him, can you?
Rainbow asked, floating back down. Sweetie nodded.
Well, walking around all shy and gloomy isn't going to help. You just got to be yourself. Walk right up to him and say, I love you. And hey, who knows? Maybe he feels the same way about you. But what if he doesn't? Sweetie exclaimed. What if he doesn't feel the same way? What if he totally freaks out and doesn't want to be my friend anymore? Darn it. Why does she have to make this so hard? What do I say now? Well, you know what? Even if he doesn't feel the same way, I'm sure you guys could still be great friends. Really? Are you sure about that? Yeah, I'm sure about it. Well, look at the time. I've got to go.
The rainbow-haired pony immediately sped off, looking quite afraid of something.
Now I'm even more not sure than I was before,
she stated, followed with an annoyed grunt. Rainbow watched from the branches of the tree above. She sighed in relief, but then tore her gaze away, scrunching her eyes and trying to bring herself not to look at the retreating filly.
You know, Rainbow.
She hit her head on a branch in recoil. Fluttershy had flown up from behind her.
I still don't think any pony would think anything bad about you if you told them you've never had a special sun pony. That's not what I'm worried about, replied Rainbow. I don't care what any pony else thinks of me. Then, why do you want to keep it a secret? Because...
She turned her head away from Fluttershy.
I don't like to be reminded that I've never had someone special.
Spike paced back and forth around the bedroom, his eyes to the floor as if scanning for dirt. Something was bothering him. But what? Around him were several suitcases, all packed with various objects and clothing. However, there was one item that wasn't packed. The large, shining ocean blue sapphire Sweetie Belle had given him earlier. Spike had precariously perched it on a high shelf, with Twilight's help, of course. He initially wanted to eat it, but for some reason, he just couldn't bring himself to do that. Spike looked up at it. He wasn't sure why, but whenever he looked at it, he just felt even more depressed. I don't get it. What's wrong? I feel like I'm missing something. I've had a great past few days. Nothing bad has happened. So why do I feel upset? Maybe drawing a picture of Rarity would help. That usually makes me feel happy. Excitedly, he ran to his table to draw a picture. But when he opened the shelf, none of his drawing materials were there. Oops, I must have packed them already. He reached into the suitcase and pulled out a sheet of paper and his crayons. There we go. Ah, Rarity, my sweet, he mused to himself as he started drawing. As he did so, however, he eventually noticed a blue light being cast down onto the paper. Huh? Looking up, he almost wanted to cover his eyes with his arm from the brightness. Celestia's sun was just in the right angle that the light penetrated through Sweetie's sapphire. Among other things, Spike had the chance to finally notice just how much it gleamed and sparkled in the bright light. Wow, he said quietly, still drawing his picture. That's just beautiful. A sweet and beautiful gem, just like my sweet Rarity. A smile escaped his lips as he gazed upon it. However, that smile left as soon as he looked back down to his paper, and was replaced by an expression of pure shock. He had just drawn a picture of Sweetie Belle. Maybe I should just ask Rarity for help, Sweetie pondered, walking through the Ponyville market. No, I can't do that. I saw what's in those romance books she has. She'll dress me all up in a frilly new dress and put me and Spike on a romantic cruise or something. Who else can I talk to? Who else around here is good at keeping secrets? But inspiration struck when she spotted a familiar confectionery shop in the distance. Wait, of course! A pony that can keep a secret, no matter what! That's it! Inside Sugar Cube Corner, Pinkie Pie was busy frosting some cupcakes in a box, almost ready to deliver an order to a customer. She was humming a soft tune to herself, probably another song that she was going to burst out singing when the opportunity arrived, until she heard the bell ring. Oh, hi, Sweetie Belle, she exclaimed. Hi, Pinkie, Sweetie replied, walking up to the counter. Pinkie Pie brushed the cupcakes to the side. So, what brings you here today? Need some treats? Or a party? No, thanks, she replied. I wanted to talk to you about something. Sure, what do you want to talk about? There's no way I'm going to tell her this in front of all these customers. Is there somewhere else we can talk? It's a secret. Oh, okay, don't you worry your little horn, Sweetie Belle. I know all about secrets and how secretly secretive they are. Come with me, Pinkie whispered, as she grabbed Sweetie and hoisted her upstairs. A lone customer walked up to the counter. Hello? Is my order ready yet? Hello? There we go. Everything's better with party hats. So, now what do you want to talk about? Sweetie gulped. It's now or never. I have to tell her. Well, No, wait! I want to see if I can guess what you're going to say, Pinkie Pie exclaimed. Did you want to throw a party? No, Sweetie answered. Please, I just want to... Or maybe you wanted to throw a party for some pony else. Isn't that the same thing? She replied with an annoyed expression. She started to pull on her face in frustration. Listen, Pinkie, I really don't think you're gonna... Oh, do you want to have a makeover? No, that's silly. You'd go back home with Rarity if you wanted to have a makeover. Duh. Oh, wait, I know. You want to have a sleepover. No, that can't be right. You didn't bring any pillows or anything. Do you want me to help you and your friends do something for a cutie mark? Are you taking a survey? Do you want to hear a story? How about... Pinkie, I have a crush on someone! Sweetie yelled at the top of her lungs. She then quickly covered her mouth in shock. Pinkie gasped, but then she embraced the young lover in a hug. Oh my gosh, Sweetie Belle, that's so great! You have your very own special sun pony. I just can't believe it. Now you and your lucky guy can hook up and be a little boyfriend and little girlfriend and be happy together forever. So, who is it? Is it some pony I know? It's not that kid in your class with the weird glare, is it? Because he kind of creeps me out sometimes. Sweetie covered the talkative pony's mouth, but she continued speaking anyway until Sweetie cast a serious glare.
Swear you won't tell any, Pony, said Sweetie. Cross my heart and hope to fly, stick a cupcake in my eye, Pinkie stated, repeating her famous swear.
Sweetie glanced around the room, still paranoid about not wanting anyone else to know, and then whispered in her ear.
It's Spike. Spike?
Pinkie exclaimed, jumping out of her young friend's grasp. Sweetie shushed her, but the element of laughter just started laughing.
Wow, that's so funny! Funny? Why is that so funny? Sweetie asked. It's funny because Spike already has a crush on Rarity, and now you have a crush on Spike, so it's all like a funny little triangle of...
But then she gasped.
Wait, no, I can't! I promised! Wait, what did you just say?
Sweetie asked with a horrified expression.
Nothing! I said nothing! Spike trusted me with his secret, and I'm not going to blab it out to any pony. No way, no how! But I just did, didn't I? Spike has a crush on Rarity? My sister Rarity?
Pinkie sadly nodded.
I can't believe it! Spike trusted me! He trusted me! What kind of friend am I? I don't believe it!
Tears started welling up in her eyes. Sweetie Belle got off her seat and walked out.
Sweetie Belle, wait!
But she didn't wait. She kept running, and even ran past Scootaloo and Applebloom as they were walking into the shop.
Huh?
Said Scootaloo. Applebloom looked back.
Was that Sweetie Belle? What happened to her?
Pinkie ran to the door and watched helplessly as the filly whom had trusted her with her heart ran as fast as she could from the store, crying all the while. Applebloom and Scootaloo ran out after her.
Oh no! Look what you've done, Pinkie Pie! Not only did you break your promise to Spike, but now Sweetie Belle is all saddy-waddy! You broke 2 hearts in one day! I have to fix this! I owe it to myself, and to Spike, and Sweetie Belle!
She thought for a little bit, before gasping and clenching her hooves together.
I know just what to do! Thank you ever so much for being with me at the spa and helping me shop today, Fluttershy. You truly are the most wonderful, all-around best friend a pony could ever ask for, said Rarity.
The sun was setting, and they were nearing Rarity's home, with several bags of fashion items in hoof.
No problem, Rarity,
Fluttershy replied, smiling softly and even blushing a little.
I'm always happy to lend a helping hoof to a very good friend. Still locked. I suppose Sweetie Belle must still be out with her little circle of friends, said Rarity. It's getting awfully late, though, and I still need to have a few words with her.
Upon hearing Sweetie Belle's name, Fluttershy became reminded of Sweetie's dilemma, and how little she had been able to help her with her love problem, and her smile vanished.
All right, and there we go,
Rarity said, unlocking the door. She turned to Fluttershy and immediately noticed how upset she looked.
Fluttershy, darling, whatever's the matter? Huh? Oh, nothing.
Rarity stepped forward.
Don't be so modest, dear. I can see that something's wrong. What is it? Tell me! Tell me! Well, how am I supposed to explain to her what happened without breaking my promise? You see, earlier today, I was talking to a friend, and they just had a really big problem, that's all. A love problem. A love problem?
Rarity repeated in concern.
Who is this pony? Do I know them? I can't tell you.
Rarity was inches away from Fluttershy's face now.
Why not? This sounds like a really huge problem, Fluttershy. If you tell me who it is, then maybe I can help them. Oh, I can't, really,
Fluttershy responded. Sweat began to trickle down her face.
I promised him I wouldn't. I have to go, Rarity. Bye.
She ran off in a panic.
Why has every pony been running off lately?
She took a sniff at herself.
Is it the perfume?
Nonetheless, she walked inside and flipped the lights on. As she set all her bags down on the table, she heard a banging noise. She looked up to see something was banging on the ceiling repeatedly from above. Opal, annoyed by this sound, covered her ears with a pillow.
What in Equestria? Rarity headed upstairs and saw that the door to her sister's room was slightly ajar. What is that little filly doing? And if she's home already, then why'd she lock the front door?
She was about to swing the door open.
Ugh! I'm such an idiot!
Upon hearing this sudden outburst, Rarity instead gently opened the door a crack and peeked inside to bear witness to the unfolding drama. Sweetie Belle was stamping down on her bedroom floor in frustration.
How could I have been so stupid? I knew I was just wasting my time.
Having physically exerted her anger, she buried her face in her pillows.
I can't believe I went through all that trouble trying to figure out what to do about being in love with Spike when it turns out he has a crush on Rarity. It's hopeless.
She slammed her hoof down.
Just forget it. I should have never even bothered in the first place. I'm too young to have a special sun pony anyway.
After a few seconds, she wrapped the blanket over herself. Tears were dripping down her older sister's face.
Sweetie Belle.
Chapter 5. Twilight's Visit.
It's too late. I didn't make it in time. I wasn't there for her. I didn't help her when I had the chance. I couldn't save her from the heartbreak. I wasn't assertive enough. I failed.
These thoughts all stung in Rarity's head as she leaned over her three-mirror platform, sobbing profusely. Fighting the tears, she bristled her hoof across the purple flowers on the table, the same flowers that she had gazed upon after an argument she had with Sweetie Belle about not wanting to attend the Sisterhood's social.
I should have talked to her as soon as I had the chance,
she lamented out loud.
I could have stopped this from happening. If I had just stepped in earlier. That is most interesting, though, that she was in love with Spike all along.
After thinking about it for a moment, however, she put her hoof to her forehead.
Oh, listen to yourself, Rarity. Of course she was in love with Spike the whole time. How could I have been so blind? Here, I thought that huge hunk of a sapphire was just a token of her friendship, when she had just had a conversation with me about a pony who has feelings for their companion. And now it's all fallen apart. She must have tried to confide in other ponies. That's how she found out that Spike already has his heart on...
But then the realization stopped her monologue cold.
On me? Wait a second. Spike has a crush on... me? Is that really true? I guess I never thought about it. Well, now that I am, that would certainly make a lot of sense. He's always been so unusually kind and generous to me, offering his assistance constantly. Hang on, that isn't necessarily an indication of infatuation. That's just Spike being a good friend. Perhaps Sweetie observed all of that and got the wrong idea.
She stood up.
Maybe I should go up and explain the confusion to her. Spike's merely just being a very generous friend is all. It's not like he's ever... actually... said...
But before she could finish that sentence, her mind flashed back to that fateful day, the day before Spike's birthday. Gosh, you really like it, huh?
Like it?
Replied Rarity, eyeing Spike's gleaming heart-shaped fire ruby.
It's magnificent.
Then, you should have it, said Spike. And much to Rarity's surprise, he handed the ruby directly to her. This beautiful gem was meant to be with you.
I don't know what to say,
said Rarity, her eyes gleaming. Spike made a bashful cringe as she circled around him in her excitement.
This is so thoughtful. Oh, my little Spikey Wikey.
She then planted a kiss on Spike's cheek, and his whole body shook up like a plank.
That's right. The gem that he gave me. That selfless, generous act. I hadn't even given much thought about what he had done until it saved him from himself. Oh, what now? I suppose you'll be eating me or something?
The rampaging Spike's feelings were in a flux as he remembered that tender moment with Rarity, and before her eyes, he shrunk back to his small stature.
Spike, you're the rampaging dragon?
As they both plummeted down, Spike decided to take his chance.
Rarity, I need to tell you something, just in case we don't make it. I've always sort of had a crush on...
But before he could finish that thought, Rarity covered his lips, tears welling in her eyes. Spike smiled in reply.
The confession he made. I remember now. I merely dismissed it as a spur-of-the-moment confession, a rubbish thought that just popped into his head while he was descending, and I stopped him because I didn't want him to embarrass himself with such a silly exclamation. That confession was genuine? Spiky Wikey really does love me? Spike, how could I have not seen it before?
Rarity's tears were starting to drip onto the table now, as they completely streamed down her face.
Oh, what is wrong with me? How could I have not seen such an obvious expression of love? There's been a triangle right in front of my eyes this whole time. Sweetie's in love with Spike, and Spike's in love with me, and...
She stopped cold. Another realization hit her.
And just who am I in love with?
As this particular thought ran through her head, there was suddenly a knock at the door.
What? A visitor? Who could it be at this hour?
The knock persisted.
I'm coming. I'm coming. Oh, hello, Twilight, said Rarity, opening the door to see Twilight's smiling face. What brings you here at this hour? My, what a lovely headpiece you're wearing. That would be the hat that Pinky gave you on your last birthday, is it not?
Thanks, Rarity, and yes, it is, said Twilight, adjusting her large green sun hat, adorned with a bright red rose.
I'm really sorry for stopping by so late. It's just that I'm visiting each of my friends' house to let you all know that Spike and I are going to be away at Canterlot for a few days. You are?
Rarity replied, with an astonished expression.
What's the occasion?
Princess Celestia invited me. My parents are going to be in town, and she thought it would be great if I came up to Canterlot to see them. It's been so long since I last saw my parents, and I'm so excited to tell them about all my friends and all the lessons I've learned about friendship.
Well, that's just wonderful, Twilight,
said Rarity.
Oh, you're so lucky. I wish I could go to Canterlot as often as you and Spike do. The flair, the pizzazz, the enrichment. I'm just so envious that you and Spike get to see it all, and...
But then she gasped.
Wait, no, you can't do that. You can do that, but... No,
Twilight's smile turned into a concerned frown.
What do you mean, Rarity? Why can't we do what?
Twilight and Spike are going to be in Canterlot for a few days? That's not good at all. How am I supposed to help my little sister with her unrequited crush when the crush in question is going to be on the other side of the mountain? How long did you two say you were going to be in Canterlot exactly? Asked Rarity, struggling to get her words out. Well, we're going to leave tomorrow morning and be there for 5 days, and then take the train back to Ponyville on Saturday. 5 whole days? Exclaimed Rarity, leaning in close to Twilight's face. Does Spike really have to be away for that long? I might need his help. Help? Help with what? I have a few orders to fill for some esteemed clients in Manhattan. Yes, I have over 20 dresses to make, and they all require quite the sizable abundance of gems. Typically I could just search for the gems to make them on my own, but we're talking 20 dresses here, Twilight. She started shaking Twilight's shoulders, making her dizzy. 20 dresses? There's just simply no way I'll be able to finish them in time without little Spiky's help. Well, I don't know, Rarity, said Twilight. I've never left Spike all by himself in Ponyville for more than a day. I'm not sure if I can trust him with that big responsibility of handling the whole library by himself without any assistance for 5 days. And besides, he was really excited about going to Canterlot and catching up with some of our old friends. She looked up at the clouds. It's almost like it's all he could think about since we first got the letter. You should just see how quickly he packed all his things. I'm sorry, Rarity. It's just... She put her hoof on Rarity's shoulder.
He'd probably be really disappointed if he had to stay here, even if it was to help you. Right. Regardless of the fact that he apparently fancies me, Rarity muttered. What was that? Um, I said Canterlot must be a very fancy place to visit then. Heh, she replied sheepishly. Well, if it's that important to you, Rarity, let me think. She put a hoof to her chin and patted it a few times, deep in thought. You know, I guess what I could do is just have Spike with me the first 3 days, and then let him take the train back to Ponyville and spend the rest of the week taking care of the library. I'm just not sure if he's responsible enough to be left alone for that long. Oh, but he won't be alone, replied Rarity. As I said, I might be needing his help quite a bit while he's here, And then she flashed a wide smile. She just came up with a brilliant idea. And besides, when he is home all by himself, I'll have Sweetie Belle stop by occasionally to check on him. Huh, said Twilight, pondering this over. That does make me feel a little better about it. You know what, Rarity? I'll talk to Spike on the way there and see what he thinks. I'll be sure to send you a letter letting you know. Oh, thanks, Twilight. You don't know how much this would mean to me. Hey, speaking of which, how has Sweetie been lately? Asked Twilight. Has she adjusted well to living with you? I know things got a little shaky when your parents moved to Philadelphia, but she's fun to have around now, right? Oh, she is indeed. She and I have been doing so many wonderful things together. I feel like we've become even closer as sisters than ever before. Even though right now, I feel like the worst sister ever. That's just awesome, Rarity, said Twilight. It's kind of a shame that your father had to take that job offer, though. Has any pony ever told you that your mother makes the best cheese sandwiches and omelets? You don't say, said Rarity, giving her best fake smile. Why is every pony always so ecstatic about my mother's cooking? It never tasted all that good to me. Well, I suppose it's all for the best. Maybe now my father will become the greatest college hoofball coach this side of Equestria. Yeah, maybe. Well, I need to get going. I have to tell every pony else about this new change of plans. Well then, it was nice seeing you, Twilight. Ta-ta! As Rarity started to close the door, she spotted Twilight pull out her checklist and start writing things down. Let's see. Now I'm going to have to go back to Fluttershy and Rainbow Dash's home to let them know about this change in plans. I hope Pinkie Pie is actually home now so I can tell her what's going on, and I still need to go to Applejack, Cheerilee, and Roseluck. Rarity rolled her eyes and shut the door. Typical Twilight. Sweetie Belle, can we please talk? Rarity headed up the stairs again after Twilight went on her way. But this time, she wasn't coming to reprimand her younger sister for the noise she was making in her room. It was finally time to have that talk. Nudging the door open a crack, Rarity peered into the filly's bedroom. Sweetie? She was met with the sight of her sister's face still buried in the pillows. Now, they were accompanied by a soft, muffled snoring. Rarity emitted a sad sigh. Looks like I've missed my chance yet again. Oh well. She began to slowly close the door. Good night, little sweetums. You are growing up so fast. Chapter 6. No More. The first day. Rarity was hard at work the next morning. Her sewing glasses were on, and she was busy sewing away at a new gray-colored garment. Next to her lay a couple of finished dresses. Whew! Sighed Rarity, swabbing some sweat from her forehead. Having 20 dresses spread out over the week is actually sounding fairly desirable right now. Still, this is the stress that comes with the job. The only way I'm going to make this an enjoyable experience is by putting all my passion into this task. Still, I really would like to know why Tonya Spoonsworth needs a dozen dresses from my newest line by the end of the day, and on such short notice. These will likely take me the whole day to complete. Now, to add a pocket stitch here. She fumbled around in her fabric drawers, but was dismayed when she couldn't find what she was looking for. Oops, Out of red fabric, said Rarity, with drooping lips. Guess I'll have to get some more from the store later. She took this moment to observe the clock behind her. It was nearing 11. Sweetie Belle hasn't come down yet. I wonder if she overslept again. Rarity pondered to herself, still gazing at the clock. Well, this is probably the only break I'm going to have while Sweetie is still home. Now is probably a good time as any to finally have that talk, and I have just the thing for it. She began walking down her hallway, flashing a very wide grin as an ingenious idea ran through her noggin. All she needs is a stronger push in her aesthetics, a bit of eye candy, as it were. If she applies herself to the same degree as I, when Spike returns from Canterlot on Thursday, he will undoubtedly notice her and bring his heart from me to her. This plan is genius. Too bad he won't be back in Ponyville in time for Hearts and Hooves Day, though. She carefully opened a door tucked in the very back of the boutique. And I've made the perfect dress, just waiting for this day. The day when sweetie Ophelia Belle finally found her soulmate, and required the help of her big sister to charm his ultimate desires and win him over. And it all starts with the masterpiece crafted by moi, she exclaimed, patting her mane. The cutest and most exquisite dress in all of... But she stopped talking when she opened up a tall white cabinet and saw only a single clothes hanger dangling from the rack. Where's the dress? I just can't believe she actually had this awesome dress that just happens to fit me perfectly. Inside her room, Sweetie Belle stood high upon a stool, powdering her face. Her hair was done up in multiple beads, and she had even put on purple eyeshadow that she borrowed from Rarity. However, the real highlight of Sweetie's appearance was the dress she wore, also borrowed from her sister. Its main color was a deep navy blue, while the band that ran around the middle was a lighter shade of blue. A lacy white frill draped over the back of the dress, while the torso was covered in sequins. The very bottom showed off a row of light blue diamonds that looked similar to the ones on Rarity's cutie mark, and smaller diamonds also graced the band and upper straps. They were cast perfectly so that the dress cast a gleam from any angle. And not only did I find a dress that fits me just right, but Rarity's been showing me how to put on makeup and make my hair all nice and stuff. Smiling at the lipstick tube with glee, she decided to use her magic to try to levitate it over to herself. Squinting her eyes shut, she focused all her effort into her horn, pointing it directly at the tube and concentrating as hard as she could. A magic glow surrounded the tube, and it even levitated a millimeter or two above the table. However, the strain was too much, and she quickly gave out, dropping the lipstick tube back onto the table. With a disappointed sigh, she glumly picked the tube up manually and spent a minute applying the cherry red cosmetic over herself. This will be perfect, she exclaimed, reveling in the genius of her plan. Spike has a crush on Rarity, so all I gotta do is make myself look really nice like Rarity always does, and then go to the library, hope that Twilight isn't there, and then butter him up, like my sister's romantic books say, sweet-talking him and stuff. She reached into her saddlebag and pulled out a string of mistletoe. And then I'll hang the mistletoe above him while he's not looking and kiss him. Just thinking about it made her blush a little, and she began rubbing her hooves together in nervousness. Yeah, and then he'll be... What's that word the books use again? Swooned. Yeah, he'll be swooned, and he'll be in love with me instead of Rarity, and I'll finally have him as my very special sun pony, special some dragon, I guess, just in time for Hearts and Hooves Day. She made a huge leap of excitement, but was shaken solid when a knock sounded at the door. Sweetie Belle, are you awake? Sweetie looked at her ensemble frantically. I can't let Rarity see me like this. Yeah, just a second. She pulled off the dress and quickly stuffed it into her saddlebag. Hang on. Rarity waited patiently at the door for a minute before Sweetie finally opened the door for her. She kept her back to Rarity and had tied a sheet of brown cloth around her face to conceal her prettied-up mane and face. Good morning, Sweetie Belle. I was just hoping that I could get the chance to... Oh, she said, noticing Sweetie's saddlebags. Were you getting ready to go someplace? Yeah, the Crusaders. I'm supposed to meet the Crusaders today so we can try to find ways to earn our cutie marks, said Sweetie, starting to sweat nervously. I gotta get out of here. All this sweat is going to ruin my makeup. And I really need to get going now. See ya, sis. Sorry I didn't come down for breakfast. She began to back out from the room, still keeping her face turned away from Rarity. Rarity's face was one of confusion and anxiety. Oh, but are you absolutely certain that you must leave now? I really wanted to have an important talk with you, and why are you wearing that brown fabric over your head? Because we're, monks. Yeah, that's it. We're going to try to see if our special talent is being monks. Yeah. She looked around nervously before turning around and trying to leave as quickly as she could. Sorry, sis. I guess that talk will have to wait till later. I need to leave now, or else they'll both be really mad at me again. Sweetie Belle, wait, Rarity called. But the sound of the door closing confirmed that she had fallen on deaf ears, and Rarity responded with a grunt of frustration and a stamp on the ground. Why does she have to keep making this so difficult? But as she calmed down, her anger shifted into regret. Better yet, why didn't I take the chance to talk to her sooner? As Sweetie Belle cautiously exited the house, she accidentally bumped into Scootaloo, knocking off the brown fabric around her head. Oof! They both cried, tumbling to the ground. Apple Bloom stood behind them. Sweetie Belle! Oh my goodness! I'm so sorry, Scootaloo! Sweetie Belle anxiously blurted, helping Scootaloo up. Ugh! It's okay, said Scootaloo, dusting off her mane. We were just about to come in and check up on you. Yeah, how are you feeling? And what you got in that bag? Sweetie began to sweat again. She picked up the cloth and tried to pat off some of the sweat without disturbing her makeup. Well, it's... I had some ideas for our... But she was interrupted by Scootaloo. Whoa, and what's with the fancy mane and makeup? She asked with a raised eyebrow. Sweetie clenched her teeth, feeling cornered by their questions. They both looked perplexedly at her, and she was getting so nervous that her hooves were trembling again. Why do I keep feeling trapped every time someone is asking me stuff? When will all of this stop so I can just go back to the way things used to be? Oh, my sister was giving me some more beauty lessons this morning. She was helping me do my hair and teaching me how to put on eyeshadow. Oh. Sweetie gave a small phew after they both seemed to buy her story. Glad that worked. Wow, that's really cool, Sweetie Belle, said Apple Bloom. Scootaloo just rolled her eyes, and this made Sweetie giggle a little. She probably still doesn't get why a pony needs to worry about their looks. At least she isn't complaining out loud, like the times when Rarity and I have actually had beauty sessions. Maybe now I can just leave without there being any more... So, are you ready to go crusading today? Apple Bloom cheerfully asked. Sweetie winced as soon as she said that. I'm sorry, girls. I'd really love to, she replied, already starting to walk away. But I need to do something else with another another pony at, another place. But maybe I'll see you later. Bye, she called. Huh? They both said in unison. They exchanged confused glances at each other, and continued those glances as they watched their fellow crusader approach Roseluck's flower stand. Wow, really? 2 whole days by myself in Ponyville? Of course I'll accept that. That sounds awesome. The Ponyville train to Canterlot was emerging from a tunnel as it rolled down the track through the mountains, on its way to the capital city of Equestria. Inside one of the passenger cars sat Twilight and Spike, sitting across from each other on their own individual beds. Are you sure now, Spike? Said Twilight with a nonplussed face. You sounded so excited about spending the whole week at Canterlot. I was actually expecting you to be a little disappointed about this request.
Oh, come on, Twilight, said Spike, resting his head on his arms. That's because I'm always excited to go to Canterlot, but I get to go there on royal business all the time. That would actually be kind of cool to stay behind in Ponyville for once while you're up in Canterlot. Well, this was much easier than I thought. I'm glad you're up to it, Spike. And besides, Spike mused, with you and your parents just sitting around talking for hours, I'll probably be bored out of my mind anyway. Ha ha, very funny, she replied, lowering her eyebrows. Don't forget, you're still going to be with me for the first 3 days, so you're going to have to meet them eventually, whether you like it or not, especially since they sounded so excited to finally get the chance to meet you in person. Spike responded by scoffing his hand in the air. Yeah, it'll be worth it, if I get to spend 2 whole days being Rarity's assistant. He lovingly sighed to himself, about to get lost in yet another daydream about that lovely Rarity. Twilight sighed and rolled her eyes. Some things just never change. Some time later, everything was quiet and peaceful on the express. The train was circling around another mountain, and Twilight and Spike were both pleasantly napping. Or at least, they were, until... Ah! Spike immediately sprung up in bed, but upon seeing Twilight asleep across from him, he covered his mouth. Uh-oh, I hope I didn't wake her. Twilight stirred a little and made a noise, but then she simply turned over to the other side. Spike flicked his forehead in relief, but then he felt troubled. What the heck? That was a really weird dream. I was fighting these Japanese samurais while they were holding Rarity captive. But then when I looked back at her, she had become Sweetie Belle. And when I looked away again, there was Rarity. Every time I looked back again, she was either Rarity or Sweetie Belle. And finally, when I vanquished those mean old samurais, I went to go kiss Rarity, and there she was again. I don't get it. Why do my dreams about Rarity keep turning into dreams about Sweetie Belle? I used to dream about Rarity all the time, the pony whom I love. So why is Sweetie Belle suddenly in my dreams? How does... Oh no. Oh no. I can't be. Oh no. Frantically, Spike grabbed his knapsack from the bagging shelf above and pulled out 2 drawings from it. You gotta be kidding me. I can't be. The first drawing was a simple sketch of Rarity he had made the other day, after he came home from the boutique. But the other drawing was the one he had accidentally made the other day, of Sweetie Belle. He held that drawing in his right claw, and the drawing of Rarity in his left. His eyes darted between the two, as all the clues finally began to click together. Am I in love with Rarity? And Sweetie Belle? Back in Ponyville, a certain little filly was proudly trotting down the road to Twilight's library. She was wearing the studded blue dress again, and now she was also clutching a bouquet of blue roses in her mouth. A tag attached to them read in neat cursive writing, "For Spike." All right, let's do this. As Sweetie Belle approached the library, she stopped in front of the orange sign outside the abode to check on her appearance. Shoot, I didn't bring a mirror. I hope all that sweating didn't ruin the makeup too badly. Let's see. Hair is still perfect. Dress isn't dirty. Eyelashes are still plucked. She lightly tapped her lip with her hoof. Lipstick hasn't worn off, and still got the mistletoe. Great. And so, she triumphantly started walking towards the front door, though she wasn't feeling as triumphant in her mind. Okay, here we go. Just going to start talking to Spike, butter him up just like the book said, hang up the mistletoe, kiss him. She gulped. And then he'll be in love with you instead of Rarity. Simple. Oh, please don't be home, Twilight. Please don't be home, Twilight. Please don't be home, Twilight. But once she got to the door, she noticed a note taped to the door. Huh? What's this? Gone to Canterlot on a royal visit until Saturday. Sorry for any inconveniences. Twilight sparkle. Sweetie exerted a happy gasp.
Oh, wow! How lucky is that? Twilight's gone for the whole week. Not only can I make Spike my very special sun pony today, but I could spend the whole week with him, just the two of us. This day is turning out amazing.
Pushing the door open, she peered around the empty library.
Hey, Spike! Are you here? Spike? Hello?
Stepping fully into the house, she looked all around, not particularly noticing that several books were missing from their shelves.
Spike? Hello? Is any pony in here? I guess he isn't home right now. Or maybe he's up in his room and didn't hear me come in. I better go check just to be sure.
She hurried up the stairs and knocked on the door to Twilight and Spike's room.
Hello? Spike? Are you in there?
After not getting a reply, she carefully nudged the door open, only to find the room seemingly empty. Upon walking into the room, Sweetie immediately had to shield her eyes from the sudden blue gleam of light.
Ow! What the... Huh?
She looked up as best as she could to see that the shine was being cast by the giant gemstone, still perched on the high shelf.
Hey, there's the sapphire that I gave Spike. But why did he put it all the way up there? It's kind of hurting my neck to look at it. Ugh! And my eyes. Whoo! Huh?
She turned to her left, where she saw Twilight's pet owl holding a feather duster with his talons.
Oh, hi, Owlicious. Just cleaning up around here? Whoo! Whoo! Huh? Well, you, of course, silly. Who? What? Never mind. Say, you wouldn't happen to know where Spike is, would you?
Owlicious nodded.
Hoot! Hoot!
He flew out of the room, and then eventually returned with Twilight's note that Sweetie had seen on the front door. He pointed to it with his wing.
Wait, are you trying to tell me that Spike went with Twilight to Canterlot?
He nodded again.
Hoot! Oh.
Her ears drooped, and she kicked the floor.
Well, that wasn't in the note. Spike's gonna be gone for the whole week, including Hearts and Hooves Day? Darn it. Who?
Uttered Owlicious, pointing to her mane and dress.
Huh?
She replied.
Oh, all this? It's just for... Well, I guess it's just for nothing now. Yeah, I snuck this dress into my room without Rarity noticing me, and then spent a whole hour making myself all pretty. For nothing. I'd better go home and wash all this makeup off.
She turned to leave, but right before she walked out, she looked to her left again and noticed something.
Huh, Spike left one of the drawers open. Whoo! Don't worry, she said to Owlicious. I'll go close it.
She walked over to the drawer to close it, but once she got there, she was stunned. Inside the open drawer were a large pile of Spike's drawings, and most of them depicted Rarity. Her eyes became increasingly wider as she laid them out on the table to get a better look. Some showed them dancing together, and some were candid sketches Spike must have made of her simply sewing dresses. She even found one of Spike proposing to her with a large diamond ring. Sweetie's heart started beating faster the more she gazed at all of the drawings. It was all increasingly becoming too much to handle, because all the pieces were finally coming together in her head, all at once, of just how much Spike was infatuated with her older sister.
It's like an obsession. He's totally obsessed with her. That's why he has all these drawings. That's why he's always been coming to our house to assist her. That's why he always follows her around everywhere when he's not with Twilight. That's why he hasn't noticed me. Because he can't ever love any pony else but my sis.
The makeup began to drip onto the drawings, as sweat and tears melted down the filly's face, a wet blend of black and pink rolling over her cheeks. Panicking, Sweetie desperately looked for a way to exert this sudden rush of emotions. Her heart felt like it was beating at 1,000 times a minute. And then, she finally snapped.
That's it!
The quietness outside the library was suddenly disrupted as a bouquet of blue roses crashed through an upper window of Twilight's library and crinkled onto the ground below. Sweetie hustled out from the abode as fast as she could and proceeded to violently stomp on the flowers in her anger, pressing her hooves deep into the decaying blue petals. She then picked up the crushed bouquet in her mouth and swiftly hoisted it against the library sign. A small flurry of ripped, wrinkled blue petals flittered in the air around the sign.
I'm through now. Through with everything. No more sweet talking. No more flowers. No more reading Rarity's stupid romance books, or trying to fancy a dragon up, or asking other ponies about their special some ponies. From now on, I'm just gonna go back to the way things were. Everything's just gonna go back to normal, with no more love, no more crushes.
She pulled off all the beads from her now ragged mane and fiercely threw them all to the ground.
And no more Spike!
This ends Part 2.